one. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our latest ESO Live. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Gina Bruno, Assistant Community Manager for ESO.
My name is Kai Schober. I'm the German Community Manager for Elder Scrolls Online.
Tamara Unlimited.
Tamara Unlimited, of course.
We have a very fun show for you today, and we are going to go over the show lineup, just in case you missed it.
Let's take a look. So we're going to start with the official ESO TU news.
After that, we're going to do a new segment called From Art to Monster with our animation director, Sean Miller.
We're going through the upcoming in-game fan events.
After that, we will do our fan creation showcase.
We'll talk to the lead PvP designer, Brian Wheeler, and the lead combat designer, Eric Robel, about the Tel Var Stones system that we'll introduce with the Imperial City.
So exciting. And then, of course, we will have some giveaways throughout the show. If you may have noticed, when we originally posted our schedule online, there was another segment with one of our senior artists, Matt Weathers. Unfortunately, something came up, but Matt did say that he will be on the next show.
On the next show,
and we'll do it.
So we'll learn more about the Imperial City.
You have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So let's get into the news.
Yay, news.
And here we're back with news. Let's take a look at what happened in the last 2 weeks. There was something going on yesterday, the day before.
There's been so much happening. Currently on PC and Mac, we have patch 2.0.13 that's live. Next Monday, we will be pushing 2.0.14 to PC and Mac. This is going to be a really small patch. It's just a few fixes for some quests, one for gameplay, one for Guild Bank. So it won't be very large this time. We are still working on the next update for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. This will be coming hopefully this month, and this will include the battle level consumables, the scaling consumables, Sigic Ambrosia, also a fix for the quest of, we keep calling it the quest of J internally. But that will be fixed in this patch, among a whole slew of other things.
We had this little announcement back on Wednesday where we
What was it, Kai?
talked about the Imperial City. Our first DLC, and not only DLC, but also big game patch. So the dates are set in stone now, fingers crossed. It's going to come to to PC Mac on August the 31st, right? To Xbox on September 15, and to PlayStation 4, god damn it, PlayStation 4 on September 15. 16, there's no PlayStation 1 patch.
I told you I'd never forget.
Yeah. Well, you can read everything about this on our webpage. Don't trust me. I'm apparently not good at dates.
You're in German time. It's okay.
But we also announced the price. The DLC is going to be included in your ESO Plus membership. If you're not an M member, you can buy it in the Crown Store for 2,500 crowns. The patch itself is going to be available on PTS later this month. We'll have some interesting events around it to support our test goals. One of them is actually about Tel Var Stones, and you can win something, maybe.
You can win something. It'll be fun.
We also released a video in the news. Let's take a look at that.
Xbox One, now $349.
Well, that was a show.
How cool is that?
Wow.
My gosh, you guys.
So much content.
It's happening. So like Kai mentioned, that will be available on PC August 31st, Xbox One on September 15th, and PlayStation 4 September 16th, and on the PTS later this month. So everything that you saw there was part of the DLC game pack, but also coming is kind of the base game patch where we have a lot of the fixes going in, and there's also some
New
pretty
too.
big content. We are raising the veteran rank to 16, as Eric Robel mentioned on the last show. And just to reiterate, we are doing some experience changes as well. So we are decreasing the amount of experience that you need in order to gain a veteran rank by 15%. We are doubling the XP for all public dungeons. We are giving you 50% more XP for all veteran rank quests, and 20% more XP for Craiglearn. And just to clarify that if you do quests in Craiglearn, it's actually 80% more, which is pretty exciting.
Multiplies. Yeah.
We know a lot of you have been kind of asking, well, what about XP that you get in PvP? We are looking into that. So we'll let you know when we have more news on that. Also in the base game patch is going to be the glass motif, which is pretty cool.
New armor too.
I think we have an image for it. Maybe.
We do.
There it is, you guys. We also have some new Undaunted pledges. We are improving a lot of the rewards that you get in Cyrodiil, and also a lot of the Cyrodiil updates that Brian Wheeler posted on the forums recently, that will be going into the base game patch. So you have that to look forward to. So many things.
So many things. If you paid close attention to our website, we just published an article about the basics of the Imperial City, basically explaining how to enter the city, where to find it, where to go to Lake Lumar.
It's in Tamriel.
It's in Tamriel. Oh, spoiler alert.
I know.
Well, you'll find new captains at the camps in Cyrodiil. They will point you towards the Imperial City, towards the sewers. You enter the city through the sewers. You'll meet the Drake of Blades, a very interesting character, who will tell you a little bit and guides you through the different stories of the different districts. You'll find the way how to get around in the city with the transportation hub. So let's take a look at the article, read about
There's a lot in there.
Get informed. Yeah.
And it has a lot of like different activities that you can do. There's a lot of info in there, a lot of screenshots. So
And this is
go
just
read it.
this is just the first of several articles that we will release.
Yep.
We'll talk about the Tel Var Stones, of course, today on the show. We'll have a guide about that one too. And we'll also look a little bit more into the interesting characters like the Drake of Blade that I just mentioned, also on the website.
Last but not least, next week is QuakeCon. Yay! We will be having a panel next Friday live at QuakeCon. It'll be the 24th at 4:30 Central Time, which is, oh, don't make me do this. It's 5:30 Eastern. Yeah, there's Google for the rest of them. We will be having a meet and greet right after the panel. That'll be at the Gossip Bar. It's right next to where the panel is, if you happen to be joining us at QuakeCon. We're also having a giveaway. We posted all the details on the website today. Sorry, we kind of just keep pushing you to the website. But all you have to do is tell us what you're excited about for Imperial City and use hashtag ESOTU and hashtag, is it QuakeCon, Jason?
Imperial City is it?
Is it? You're right. Hashtag Imperial City.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But you will have a chance to win an ESO-themed Xbox One.
Yeah.
If you are chosen as our winner.
It's really, really good. That is.
There it is. Beautiful. If you happen to be joining us at QuakeCon, let us know. We'd love to meet up with you. It is free to attend the panels and the show hall, but you do need tickets for the BYOC, which I'm pretty sure is sold out. But you can still come to the panel and the meet and greet.
Sure. And of course, everyone can win that Xbox. You don't have to be at QuakeCon.
That is true.
And you can win something here too. Can we?
What?
Something?
Oh
Win?
yeah, a giveaway.
Yeah,
we should
let's
do
do a
that.
giveaway.
In honor of Imperial City, we have a really cool Imperial City litho.
Yep. This
It
one.
looks like that. So the keyword for this litho is actually going to be litho backwards. So it's
Othel.
Otil.
Otil.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
OHTIL.
No, we're so close to the weekend, we're allowed to have fun.
Look, everyone in chat's like, wait, how do you do the what? It's not bacon.
No. It's not a pig
Come on,
that we're giving
we
away.
have one person. There they
Yay.
come. Litho backwards, because why not? And if you're really good, maybe we'll have some developers sign it too.
Oh, yeah,
But only-
we can do that.
Only if you're good.
So
Okay.
they're getting there. My Skype is frozen. You will have to announce the winner.
Well, I don't know if this is a capital I or an L. In cover? In cover. Jason says yes. Well, congratulations, in cover.
Hey, congratulations.
You just won our very special Imperial City litho. We will ship that to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, Jason will get in touch with you. He'll send you PM, so check your other folder, not that it gets into the spam folder.
Never
We'll
happens.
ask for the shipping details and for a phone number. Let us know.
Yep. Indeed. What's next?
So, move on. As we said, we're going to look at a new segment called From Art to Monster. You've probably seen the big guy in the Blur trailer. And if you paid close attention, you've seen something similar in the Imperial City video that we just showed. So we'll take a look at how we get a monster from the Blur trailer into the game. And with us will be our animation director, Sean Miller. And we're
Here
back.
we are.
Welcome,
Surprise.
Sean. Hey, good to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming
We've
down.
already seen you in the round table, but could you just introduce yourself? Those who weren't watching? Yeah.
Sure. I'm Sean Miller. I'm the animation director for ZeniMax Online Studios. I oversee the animation for the project, coordinating with the animation team, the designers, the engineers, all the things that help bring the characters of Tamriel to life.
And we're talking about one special character today.
Yes, we are. Everybody saw the giant hulking monster that we had in the trailer.
That's not nice to say about CJ.
Ka-ching.
Full of love, that's all.
There's truth in good comedy. The flesh the flesh abomination, he's called, started as an evolution of a monster that we all know from back in both Oblivion and in our game. You've seen him as the Flesh Atronaut, which is this creature that's it's a bag of flesh. It's made up of flesh that's been sewn together, and it's all been put together to trap the spirit of a Daedric spirit.
Yeah, what a lovely home.
And what we really, when we were doing the trailer for the game, we wanted a monster that was going to be really giant, epic, and have a real presence. And Blur actually put together the design and pitched us on this idea of kind of taking that creature and taking it up to 11. And so they designed this creature really very true to the core of what the Flesh Atronach was about, being that sort of bag of flesh and the chains and the metal and all of that, but they made it like 30 feet tall, and it was epic and awesome. And they kept that floppy jaw, which is probably one of my favorite aspects of it. I just can't stop
And we have a
staring.
picture of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's
See the picture?
here's the guy from the trailer. And one of the
Well, we
things.
can see him, but
It's still not there.
any second. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
there he
there
is.
he is.
Yay.
He's got the that sort of flabby, fleshy kind of a feel, but much more grounded. Our original Flesh Atronach was much more stylized, and this version really just had that gritty, kind of realistic feel that we really liked.
Yeah.
And we wanted to pull that into the game and give that something that the players could play, and it makes the perfect choice for like a boss monster. So one of the things that we did was we took a look at it and tried to figure out how we could bring it into gameplay. Of course, having a monster that's 30, 40 feet tall is actually kind of difficult in MMO. I think it's kind of hard to spend your time chopping away at somebody's toenails,
That's
right?
very boring, yeah.
So we had to change the scale and look at things like that. But we got a hold of the high-res mesh, which came from the Blur model. This is a model that during character production we'll use tools like ZBrush to capture all the details of a model. These things are way higher in polygon count than you'd see on an in-game model. Millions and millions of polygons, but it captures every little detail of the folds of the flesh, the muscles. It's like sculpting in digital clay.
And ZBrush is the program you use.
ZBrush is one of the tools that we use for that kind of thing. And we'll get in there, we can get down to the individual stitches, the striations in the muscles, the way the flesh puckers when the metal punches through it, all the things that really are capture all the details. But those models are way too high resolution to go into the game. So we have to then take it and make a lower resolution version of it that we can even film for the trailers or those types of things. The version there, though, even though it's lower, it's still super high. And I don't have the specific stats for the one that went into the Blur trailer, but it's way too big to be rendered into real time. So then our artists take that and we build a skin that's lower resolution. And the tools that we have today are really fantastic because we can capture all that tiny little bits of detail and color, and we can project that down through various processes onto this low-res mesh. So the final in-game mesh might only be 10,000 or less polygons, but it still maintains a lot of the fidelity and all the kinds of details and fleshiness and gruesomeness that we were looking for.
So although you reduce it, it's still true to the idea, has these details?
Very much. It has all those details. It gets baked down. A lot of the details get baked into something called a normal map, which is this. It's basically a three-dimensional height map that lets us use the in-game rendering to show off the surface details. So you'll see the way that the flesh shines, and you'll see shadows where the flesh is deeper, and it basically picks up all those details. But when we get a monster like this, we also like to do variations of monsters. We generally don't build just one version of a monster. We'll use something as a base, and then we look to make variants that we can use in specific areas of the game so that it fits the theme or the story of whatever is going on. So in our game we have things that are more roaming bosses, and then we have other stuff that's more specific, that are more location or encounter bosses. So we wanted something that was going to have a feel that we could use in Imperial City. So we had the concept artists go in and sort of take the base ideas behind what they built with the Flesh Abomination.
And his base idea was spikes.
And it was that gargantuan kind of a feel with the spikes, but we also in Imperial City, the Daedric forces are trying to take over Imperial City. So we wanted to pull thematic elements into the design of it. It's something we'll do when we're working on concept to help seat something into a culture or a style or a story. So in this case, we took a look at the key elements that make up our Cold Harbor themes, the cooler colors, the shapes of the dark anchor. We have, the dark anchor here. We took a look at some of the key silhouettes and how do we pull that into the design of the creature. We wanted to be able to give that sense of the character being enchained and enslaved because he's being controlled by the forces.
Yeah.
So we've got all these kinds of pieces of metal biting into his flesh. You'll see here we have a couple of different variations that we were looking at for the way that we were going to handle his fists. So we went with the one on the bottom, which you see reflected in the black and white concept that we have there. The spikes, we focused on really kind of amp up the tortured sense, so we wanted them to feel like they were really ripping through his skin, and that he really felt like he should be in pain.
Yeah, I don't know if you're allowed to call that fist, whatever he has.
What used to be a fist.
Yeah.
So it really evokes that sort of danger and that sense. And then when you put this on something that is 20 feet tall, because our version is still really, really big in our game. You see here the concepts of artists will also then, they look at it not just from the front, but we have to resolve what it looks like from the back. How do we get the metal to look like it's being pushed into his flesh? We wanted to fuse that armor in and really just have it, the whole thing kind of in the round. Here you see the final concept next to the original flesh abomination. Sorry, and it still evokes a lot of those senses, but it fits now the role that it has as a guardian in the Imperial City.
So this one, it came from the Blur trailer and it's true to the trailer. How is the process general if you design a monster? Will you start with this high polygon detail models anyway?
We'll start usually with concept. And then that concept will get built into a high resolution mesh. A lot of times we'll start with that high resolution mesh just because we can get all of that stuff, all the details and the shapes. The sculpting tools are actually really fantastic in the modern tools that we have for that. Then we'll use programs like Max to reduce that mesh down into something that'll fit into whatever we're going to use it for. If it's an in-game mesh, we have to take it down pretty far. If it's something we're going to use strictly for rendering movies, it'll be higher. But we always, for all the content we're doing, we always do a high-res mesh like this. It may not have every single detail in it. We'll actually also, some of the details we'll end up adding in Photoshop, where we're layering in really the finest level of detail and bringing more color into it. We might take an area that had folds of skin and we might put in Photoshop, we'll put some angry color in it so that it feels like it's raw, and we might add things like the tinier veins or tears or things like that in Photoshop. It's kind of one of those things that as you're developing the model, you look at what's gonna bake down better, and then what we can have the most control over.
What about the weapons, though? I mean, in this case, his fists, whatever you want to call them, were predefined.
His stumps, maybe.
Yeah, stumps.
The stumps. I think the stumps were predefined.
So it's kind of a road that gameplay had to take when they came up with the abilities. Does it happen the other way around too, that gameplay says, I want a monster that is wielding a badass two-handed sword,
yes.
Give me something.
It does go both ways. So sometimes we have an idea for a monster and we'll get the concept and we'll then show it to design and say, here's this cool monster. Other times the design will say, we need a monster to be able to do this. I need a character that can carry a two-handed sword. If they had needed a character that had a two-handed sword, well, we would have probably put one of his hands back.
Yeah.
But in here, the design of it was that he has to be, he's this hulking mass. He's going to be fighting multiple people at a time. So how can we give him weapons that will seem really dangerous, but he's already 20 feet tall, and if you put a mace on there, now that's another 20 feet of reach that you have to have. So it actually, even from a space design, we can use him in more places if we pull those weapons in closer, and in here embedded them in his flesh, which serves that awesome thing of making you, like, that's a scary thing to see.
It is,
if I see somebody with weapons embedded in their flesh, I'm going to either run away or I'm going to kill them.
I would run away.
Personally, I'll probably run away if in the game. So we work with the design team to kind of decide what's going to work the best, and then concept might go back, and like in that case, you saw we had different versions of the treatments of the hand. Yeah. You know, do we want it longer, smaller? What's the visual treatment of it? And always feeding into what it is that we need the design to do. That really has to be the end goal. Is that we can make the coolest design, but if it doesn't fit into something that the designers can use, it's useless. It's one of the things I actually really like about this industry, because it's a very collaborative environment that you have to work in. Artists have to work with design. We all have to work with programming and audio and effects. Everybody has to come together to make this happen.
And everyone works for community.
It does, and
for our community. Sorry.
I thought you meant for us. All right.
That would be nice.
Sometimes these ideas get generated even from feedback that we might see from the forums or things that people have asked for. Like, wow, that would be really cool. Can we put that in? So it's really nice to be able to have a community that we can reach out to and that we can listen to. So.
Okay.
So after you're in this stage, what happens next?
So. We take the model. It gets built as the in-game version, which I have a final image here of what it looks like in-game. This is the boss version, and it's got the right resolution for it for the game. But now we have to get in and we have to put bones in it so that we can animate it. Animating in 3D is a lot like sort of digital puppetry. Some of the things that you would have done, say, in stop motion, where you'd have clay with an armature in it that has joints that you can articulate. Well, we do the same thing in our game, where we use 3D Studio Max, and we'll put in the joints. The artists and the animators work with the tech art team to kind of articulate all those pieces. We've got some footage of that. Where you can kind of see the way that the joints move the flesh, because the things that we need, like we'll have joints, and then there's bones in between the joints. We'll call them bones a lot, because what we're grabbing often are controls that are moving the bones around, and then the tech art team will put in additional controls that allow us to control the angles of elbows, the floppiness of his chin wagging.
Yeah, I just saw that. It's moving around.
And the animators will identify the kinds of controls that they need so they can sculpt the poses that they are looking to create. It's always a balance to try to create the kind of gameplay and the action that you need, and imbuing that creature with personality. It's not enough just to see that it's a creature that's going to do a foot stomp or a punch. The attitude that they use and all of that is something that the animator has to be able to capture, and they have to be able to articulate it. So some
chin is floppy. Chin is floppy. His
he
belly
does.
Is floppy.
He has a floppy belly. We'll kind of identify the kinds of things that we want to move.
No, don't show his ass and how you animate it. Yeah, thank you.
It's kind of interesting being able to have those kinds of secondary controls, because that allows you to give it that organic, fleshy feeling, and it really becomes something that I think creates a better emotional response. You look at it and you go, oh, or it just makes it feel more tangible and more believable. Even if it's something that's stylized, it's nice to have those elements, because you can. It gives you these things that your brain kind of knows and recognizes, and you may not think about it up front, but you'll see it, and you'll see that belly waggling, and you'll see the chin wagging, and you go, oh, which is, that's something. I think we've got some footage of some of the controls that we have on the face. So when we're in there, personality is something that you want to be able to capture, and you got something that has this giant wagging chin. If that was a stiff thing that didn't move, it wouldn't be that interesting. But as soon as you see that sort of flopping with what we call secondary motion, we've got multiple layers to the jaw that we can control.
Boy, that's what I look like in the morning before.
Ooh.
They didn't tell me where they got the reference for that. But, it's
Easter egg.
it's also it's nice to be able to have those kinds of controls. You'll see all those boxes and things like that. Those are the controls that we put on top of the bones that make it easier for the animators to grab and kind of move around.
What software is that they use?
That was 3D Studio Max.
Okay.
That's what we use for our rigging and animation for the game. And
so I then just drag him like a puppeteer and put him into the pose I want to.
You'll put him in the poses that you want.
Is he going to be in that pose?
And we can control them on the individual level, right? So we could grab the arm and move the arm. We can also rotate the arm. When we're doing an attack, we have to look at what it's trying to achieve, and it's not just, I mentioned before, it's not enough just to make the punch pose.
Yeah.
You want to get the feeling of that to show the kind of weight and size. We need to be able to let the players know what's happening. So we have something called a tell that'll be the beginning of an animation where we're showing you this thing is getting ready to happen. And on a guy that's this big, everything he does needs to feel like it could kill you.
Yeah.
And so we have to build that into the animation so that you as a player can decide, what am I going to do here? Am I going to dodge out of the way? Am I going to try and get behind him? Am I going to punch him in the face? The tools that we have, you can see here where we're actually even able to just take a look at the arc that arm is going, and we can adjust it on that level. So not just moving the joints, but we can now get in and make sure that the flow from one moment to the next works. Each one of those little dots represents a point in time along that we've decided we need to have a special pose here, and the keyframes and all those types of things.
How long? Sorry, how long does it?
I just said it's cool.
Oh.
I'm going to keep interrupting.
Yeah, that's okay. How long does it take to do, for example, this one animation,
Oh, look
his
at his
sweep?
armpit skin. Sorry.
That kind of anatomical detail is something that's just fantastic that the figure team puts into these things. Trying to figure out how these creatures would be put together.
And there's his shin again.
So we might spend our process is we do it in layers. So we'll work with designers up front to kind of identify what the moves needs to be. I need a sweeping attack like this. I need to be able to attack multiple guys that are going to be in front of me. Then we'll block the poses in with the minimum number of poses. We call it the blocking phase, and the goal is to communicate what's going on with as few keyframes as possible. It makes it easier to iterate. And then we can get that into game as fast as possible. We like to get it in the designer's hands so they can show you how it's how the mechanic works. How does it feel when I'm playing it? Is it too fast? Is it too slow?
Yeah.
Can I tell what he's going to do? Because a lot of times you'll do something in Max, and it doesn't necessarily look the way you'd like when you see it in game and you're coming at it from the side. These things have to work from almost any angle.
Sorry to interrupt. What's this blue, all those lines?
That's the graph editor. So that's another one of the tools that we have. Once we've laid in keyframes, we can control how any one component of the character is going from one pose to the next. We can control how smoothly, how fast. We can change the arc. It's just another layer of the tool that we have to work at it. And animators at different stages will work in each of these different tools, and some people like to work more in this. There's other things like a dope sheet, which is really great for timing because it's really just about where your keyframes are in space, so it's really easy to adjust timing during your animation. Here's the way that the final animation looks in game.
Really nice. I don't want to stand in his way.
So after it goes through animation, what departments does it hit next? Is it audio or?
Well, once we've got it working in game and we like the way that it looks, audio and effects takes a pass. A lot of times it will be effects will be the next in line because we want to make sure that if there's some special effects and things like that, audio has everything that they need to be able to create the sounds.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, if you've got, if it's a melee attack, we want to have maybe the, you know, weapon blurs. We'll want to have impact so that you see what happens when it hits the target or it hits the ground. If it's scraping on the ground, or you see sparks coming off of it. Some of the other abilities, you know, if it's an area of effect, what is that? How big is it? What does it look like? And then audio will take that and they make that part of their audio picture that they're making, where they're building the rest of that personality out. So they will be developing audio. I think in this case they used animal noises. They used something they called male human noises. They didn't get too specific about that.
Don't go that road.
But they mix all that stuff together to create something that sounds really gross and grotesque. And it should be something that doesn't feel comical, because that's not where we're going.
No.
Yeah.
Which is they have to kind of play around and work with it till it gets to the point where it's gruesome, but the laugh you give isn't one where you're laughing at it, where you're like, oh man, that is awesome. It has to support it. You want to feel the gruesomeness, the weight. You want to be slightly scared of this. You don't want to feel like you could come up and solo this guy, you know. So, you know.
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're up.
One of the things that we'll also look at with these kinds of things are how what we have and all these things, they come together into a combat experience. So we have some footage of this the boss version in the area where he is in Imperial City. So you see, you know, this is the final in-game model. He's less than 10,000 polygons, but you really don't look at it and say that's a low-resolution character.
No, definitely not. And ouch!
Oh.
It should look like it hurts.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Now, we don't have the sounds for you to hear right now because we wouldn't be able to talk over them. But when you play through the content, you'll get to kind of hear that soundscape that they created, which I think they were really successful at. It sounds as cool and creepy as it looks, and I think everybody worked together to really do something really special with it.
And everyone will see this in the Imperial City
Yes,
DLC.
they will see that in the Imperial, both versions of it. There's actually another version that we didn't show here. The other interesting thing is that as we're developing a game like this, there's an evolution to the process. So you'll be building content, then you'll kind of maybe compare it to something that you've already done, and in a lot of other games, you'd have to just leave it. In this case, we took a look at that kind of gruesome grittiness, and we thought, it would be really cool if we could bring some of that back into the original Fresh Atronaut.
Oh yeah.
And we did.
So we went back into there and we kind of redesigned it with this character kind of in mind. And the updated version that you guys have all seen, it was in like one of the last patches that we have, and you'll certainly see in Imperial City. It's fleshier than the original. It's not as stylized. It's a bit more disgusting. I think that might have even been in the patch notes one time.
Who wrote that?
I have no idea.
Well,
great job. It looks intimidating,
it does, for sure.
and I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed.
Do we want to spoiler? He's in the Imperial prison. Looking
Yes, he
forward
is.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be
One of
cool.
the Things. If you have any questions, sorry, we completely forgot to mention that in the beginning, related to animation, shoot them. We'll forward them.
Yeah.
I have one question.
What's
Yes.
your question?
Why do I mount my horse from the wrong side? I can't get around it.
You know,
That's your question?
That's my question. Yeah.
I suspect that it was because the person who was animating him was left-handed and hates all right-handed people.
Oh.
Let's go with that.
No, you know, we were talking earlier about like why you would mount the horse, because there is actually a tactical reason of why you would mount the horse on the right and not your left.
There's a tactical reason? There's a tactical reason to mount on the left.
On the left, sorry. Because
my
where
weapon-
your sword is, where everybody keeps their swords. And it's the kind of thing where I think that in the development of it, sometimes we'll do things that you can do from multiple angles, and this was a case where the first angle that they took made sense, because I do suspect that they were wearing their sword on the other side. So.
All right, well, you used up your question. I have one
Okay.
question. I actually saw it go running by in chat real quick. Animation canceling has always been kind of a thing. Do you have any comments?
We do have something in the works right now. I'm really excited about it. We can't talk about it quite yet, but it is something that I know that it's been in everybody's minds, and we've been looking at and trying to. It's a very complex problem, because we have a lot of gameplay that's in place. And it's important for us not to break the game when we make changes like this, something that's so core to the way that combat is done. So we should expect to see something coming up in one of the next builds. It's something that I think addresses a lot of the core problems with the way that it looks right now, so I think we'll have more in maybe the next time we do this.
Okay.
I'm really excited about it, because we're very close to it being something that we can release and get people's hands on, and that's where I think the proof is really going to come out. We can get people's hands on it, and they can feel it and experience it. I think it's going to be well received.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for coming down here and
Thank you.
Thank you.
showing us all how you get something from just a drawing all the way into the game. It's quite a process.
Yeah, it's something that there's so many people that put their hands on it and have to work together, and it's then having to get it to render at 30 frames per second in the game and all of that stuff is exciting. I like it.
I will certainly look at his at his chin and at his belly now when I fight him.
Oh.
And
Well, you can look at that.
yeah.
In the meantime, we are going to move on to our next segment, which is some fan events. But thank you again, Sean, for joining us. It was
Thank you,
wonderful
guys.
to have you.
Thank you.
Who doesn't love fan events? We're going to go through all the new things that you can look forward to in-game right now.
Let's
So,
get started.
sorry I cut you off again.
Let's
That's going to
get
be, the theme of the show. I'm just going to interrupt you every time.
Great. No, go ahead.
The Ardon Charitables. This is happening Friday. Wait, that's today. July 17th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. It's on the North American Mega Server. You should head to Ardon so you can share some food, healing, guidance with everybody else who has been kind of the brunt of turbulent times.
Next up, we have the Smashed Crab Tavern Nights. It happens on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and the week after at 7 p.m. British summertime on the European Mega Server in Windhelm. If you're hungry or thirsty, if your sweet roll is stolen, I don't know why anyone would do that, that's exactly the place to go. If you're interested, the two persons you can contact.
Falmore Citizens Symposium. This happens on Sundays at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server over in the Grotwood Embassy Courtyard in Eldenroot. This is PC and Mac. You want to head here. It's weekly. It takes place in the courtyard. Go and enjoy yourself.
And there is the Sunday's Respite at Ravensmere Inn. You can join them for each week for an evening of food, libation and entertainment. This happens every Sunday. The 19th and the 26th starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and it takes place on the North American Mega Server in the Ravensmere Inn. If you want to participate, contact My December.
Your December?
My December, not your December.
Next, we have the Aldmeri Dominion Tavern Night. The Silverblade contracts are offering you a night to speak, drink, and eat. Those are my three favorite things to do This happens every Monday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server over in Reaper's March. Raffle pancakes as well. The contacts, love it.
So now we come to Tuesday event. See what he did there? These are in order.
They're in order.
The Daggerfall Covenant Unofficial Tavern Night. It's an opportunity for surprises and drama. Oh God, who wants drama? You can expect the
Love
unexpected if you show up Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server. But take care to check out where the location is, because the tavern changes. Maybe they got kicked out of all the taverns they've been to already. Check with the Duchess of Corvetch if you want to participate.
Next we have Tel Nara Lecture Series. You want to head here. It's a weekly lecture in the Brooding Elf Inn over in Deshan. All sorts of magical topics are talked about. So this happens on Tuesdays, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server, again in the Brooding Elf Inn over in Deshan.
So there are miscellaneous events in Valenwood called the Miscellaneous Valenwood Events.
So clever.
Yeah. It's giving it away though. These take place on Wednesday, July 22nd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server in Valenwood. Who would have guessed? Head over up and go to the next slide. It's okay.
I got excited.
Go to the next slide.
Woodhearth Open Market. Oh, this is my favorite one. You know why? Because it takes place on the North American Mega Server at the Three Tree Trading Circle.
You did it.
Nailed it. This happens on Thursdays, July 30th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You want to head here for some good food, drink, and the finest weapons and armor.
And those
Oh,
were,
that was it.
Those
Sorry.
were
There's one more. You know, it's
all
not
the
a show.
events for the next.
calling me a Hulk.
I didn't call you a Hulk. I called
No.
you an abomination.
Yeah, it was worse than a Hulk.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's
I'm
good to
sorry.
be a Hulk.
It's all full of love. I
You're
promise.
always angry, but you get green once in a while. Anyway, enough of events. Let's head to the fan creations next.
Fan creations.
And we're back. What a surprise.
We're still here.
Yeah. And looking at the fan creations that we've been looking for, you can send us whatever you paint, whatever you design, and to community@elderscrollsonline.com. We'll take a look, and we're happy to present what we get. Let's get started. And
Let's.
you go first, because,
Me?
yeah.
Okay. Well, the first piece is As the Wolf Clan, We Stick Together. This is from Amber Wolf's art, found on DeviantArt. It's actually a commission piece for one of our players, Black Venom, part of a guild that offers free werewolf bites for Ebonheart Pack members. That's awfully nice. The artist was kind of partial to creating werewolf artwork. And it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Next piece is from XXTHXX on DeviantArt.
You weren't going to try and pronounce that?
I did. It's the Sheep and Ezra, the Pariah Guard. Looks like two lovely orcs.
Next we have Khajiit Has Wares. This is from The River's Edge, also found on DeviantArt. It's a digital painting of two characters. They are of the artist and one of his friends, Xandra Wolf. This image is actually located in Greenshade. Do you think they talk like that with their tongues hanging out?
I don't know that.
Because they
seems-
have oil?
might be difficult. So here is She's a Beauty, She's a Grace, and she'll put a X in your freaking face.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Features the drawing of the female Bosmer, apparently a warrior that really knows how to use her axe. She looks angry. Don't know why. Nice piece.
That's how you can describe me Monday mornings. Just kidding. Next up, we have High Elf fan art by the Gamer Angel 25 on Twitter. She tagged us with this image on Twitter saying, "Love walking into my room seeing that I did this." Well, you know what? We love seeing it too. It's a great piece. And I love the little green all over.
Full of magic. So here we have Nacion, made by Deandric on DeviantArt. This is a commissioned piece from Nacion. It's in Bosmer, who is an ex-Dominion member and now stalks the Pact lands looking for some purpose.
Next we have Soressa by Deuce Solar, found on DeviantArt. This is a digital painting of a Breton and a Dunmer named Saurus in a very close embrace. So sweet.
It's dark and light getting together.
Yin and yang.
Here are Maguro and Seria, done by Delmota on Tumblr. The drawing is of the art mists Osmia and her friends Dunmer characters. And they have something going on with a wolf.
I can see the bottom one is just kind of blech.
Probably got some hair in the mouth.
You shouldn't be licking his face. Come on now. The last piece is from Slayer Serena, who we feature pretty frequently on the show.
Yeah,
this is
seen her
Kelder
before.
and Vitalis. Hope I didn't butcher those names. This is a commission drawing. Kelder is wearing Breton armor, belongs to the player of the same name, while Vitalis belongs to Gangsy Girl. Pretty cool, Serena. We actually had the pleasure of meeting her last year at QuakeCon, so hopefully
Is
she
here
can come
again?
again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Did we mention that you're going to QuakeCon?
I will be at QuakeCon.
You will be there, yeah.
We'll be there with Jason Levy and his hair. We'll also have Matt Fire, Rich Lambert, our new creative director, Brian Wheeler, and Eric Roble. Well, we are going to do one more giveaway. It's very exciting. We're going to be giving away a t-shirt
Yeah.
in your size, and it'll just be whatever we have in your size. So the key word in honor of having Roble and Wheeler on the show today is going to be Wheebler.
Wheebler. That's.
Make it a thing, you guys. Wheebler.
You want to spell it? It's WHEEBLER.
I want to see
have it.
So yeah, how is the chat doing? Did I get it?
Wheebler.
Yeah.
There it comes. Make this a thing, guys. Wheebler. It's going to happen. I'm going to be the only one hashtagging it, but it's okay.
Make it a battle cry.
Yo, buddy.
Wheebler's getting cozy on the couch here.
Yeah. Don't try to become one person though.
Oh, you know what? We wanted to give you kind of some fun patch notes from the next update while we're waiting to pick a giveaway winner.
Not from the live update, but from the PTS update. Yeah, there are some fun things.
We have a lot of fixes going in. I think we're almost at 50 pages on our Word document, and some of these are pretty interesting. We're fixing an issue where apparently when you ate pies, you would hold a spoon, but now you're going to hold a fork.
That's very important.
Priorities, guys.
Yeah.
I like to eat my pie with a spoon. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. We have another very important fix, and I wonder how we even found this. So we're fixing an issue where your body would appear to separate if you roll dodge off a ledge while holding a staff and blocking.
I always roll dodge holding a staff and blocking.
See, that's our QA. How do they find such things?
I don't even know. Arrows are going to be a lot easier to see while they're traveling to your knee.
Wow.
See what we did there?
That's the first arrow and knee joke we've done on ESO.
I think it is. I think it's the first one.
And it's a poem too. Wow.
And that,
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
and that's actually all the arrow abilities, so like poison arrow and snipe.
You know they don't even know you're sitting there.
Yeah, your voice of the off, but yes.
It's some random voice in the
From
distance.
the
Mythical Wheebler.
Mythical Weaver.
So we
Gonna be a thing.
updated the following justice achievements that will now give you a proper award upon completion, which is murderer, serial killer, and mass murderer. Wow, that's the way to go.
Most excellent. Well, we have a winner for a giveaway. Do you want to know who won?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I know I do. It is Kronos ESO. Congratulations. Be sure
The
and
gods
tell,
approve.
be sure and tell Jason your shirt size, and we will ship that out to you next week. But you have to look for his message.
Yeah.
He's a big
Well,
beast.
thank you for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks. Have I done this before? It's not
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
anymore. Okay.
No, we've
well,
done this.
They're like, no.
coming up next, we will be getting into the Tel Var Stones system with Wheebler. Look who we found! These guys! So joining us
voice
for this
has a
segment, yeah, the voice does have a body.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
Joining us is Eric Roble, our lead combat
Hi,
designer,
everybody.
and we also have Brian Wheeler, our lead PvP designer.
Hey guys.
And they are
Yeah.
here to talk about the Tel Var Stone system, which we've kind of chirped about here and there, but what is it?
What is it?
What is it?
It's a new system for Imperial City. That's what it is.
Oh,
Great. Well, that's all.
That's it.
Goodbye. See
Yeah.
you in 2 weeks.
So more specifically, this is the way people are going to be getting items. It's a new currency, so it works similar to gold. So you'll sort of see it displayed down there next to gold. There are.
Oh, so it's not going to be in your bag like as a,
Yeah, it's not like
as a thing.
you're having a
No.
bunch of
Backspace.
tokens that you're like stacking up or whatever because
That's cool.
you've already got enough stuff you're trying to manage around there. So it's definitely a lot cleaner and easier to tell like how many you have. And then basically every monster that you kill in the Imperial City will give you some of this currency. And we sort of give it out based on the strength of the monster you're fighting. So if you fight just some of the easy base mobs, you'll get 4, like a champion is 12, and then we have some sort of like smaller bosses that'll give you 100, and then like the
big boys,
guys,
yeah, they give a lot. Yep.
Yeah,
And then we have the event in the sewers too, all the way down there.
Yep,
So-
and that one gives even more. But
Right.
yeah, so the bosses are like 400 just to sort of give you a comparison of how much more they'll give. So
There's
But-
that.
it's always good to kill things.
Oh, yeah.
But
Of course it is.
It's even better to kill players, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it depends. It
Well,
depends, right?
it depends, yeah.
Some
Sometimes.
players yes, some players no.
But we don't want to only talk about it. We also want to
Oh yeah, we want to show it.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Get
Why
into
not?
the Imperial City.
So we have a crack crew of our QA gang that's loaded up and ready to go. Can we go to them, pretty please?
yeah, let's-
Maybe. There we go. All right.
Already.
Oh,
So,
they're waving to us. That's
so
Yay.
we have 4 of our guys from the testing team that have been playing Imperial City a lot. It's Larrabee, who is the cameraman in this case, Jay, Kyle, and Will.
You're QA.
Let's hear it for the guys.
They do a lot of hard work, and they don't always get
They do.
appreciated. But we definitely could not make the game that we have made without them.
That's true. Yep.
So,
So
where are we?
they are in the Memorial District, which used to be the Market District before it got basically leveled. And one of the wars and stories you kind of learn about as you're playing through here. It turns into the market, obviously, that people are more familiar with in Oblivion. Way, way, way later. But in our timeline, this is the Memorial District. And Michael, or Larrabee, is getting ready to, he's going to try to successfully pick a lock.
Come on.
There we go.
Got it.
So from here, you get to see another source of Tel Var Stones,
Oh,
where
yeah,
he got
he
a
got
chunk
the
out of
first
there.
one.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
and actually all the chests here will drop Tel Var Stones. So that's a really nice way to sort of distinguish the chests here from
Right.
the other areas. And you'll actually see there's like a little seal, a purple seal on each chest to help communicate that as well.
Like this is a special chest type
And
thing.
we do have a new UI element there in the bottom corner.
Oh, that's
Right.
counting the stones.
That is our basically our UI, which talks about it's right
Oh,
there.
hey, look at this
yeah.
big
Ah.
check we got.
I can point to it. No.
Right there.
So you can point at me. No. So that keeps a current count of how many stones you have on you
Like,
right
all
now.
We're not showing you guys.
We're not showing you that anymore.
That was a disaster.
It also shows you a multiplier there, and when you get a certain amount of stones, that multiplier goes up the more you carry on your person, which then gives you more stones as you kill more things. But it is an important note that that multiplier doesn't apply for any stones you get when you kill another player.
Yeah.
Wait, you get
So-
stones if
yeah.
you kill another player?
So normally, when you kill a
Tell us.
player, you get 100% of the stones.
Why?
It's 100% right now. We're gonna test it out on PTS.
Yeah,
But-
it's definitely very punishing.
Right.
Because the person who died, they lose, like they have 500 stones. Now they have none. They lost everything, all their stone progress that they've been making. So it's really bad for that person, but it's really good
really
for the
great
It's
person.
really
you.
awesome for the other person.
Yeah.
Right.
And we did the 100%. We didn't want the multipliers to count to that because we didn't want people being able to trade their stones.
Going in the corner and just.
Yeah, and killing
Yeah.
people each other back and forth just to like get a huge bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of like the law of energy. Like no energy is never lost or gained. It's kind of like
Yeah.
thermodynamics, right? Stones.
What was the general like idea or goal behind letting people get their stones looted?
Well, the biggest thing that we found is we needed a challenge that added more to PvP. Besides the fact that Imperial City is a new place to fight, a new place to run around and kill players and run around and obviously fight Moleg's Ball's forces, we wanted this sense of finding players and hunting them down and taking something from them that you don't necessarily get as much out in Cyrodiil. So it gives a different feel to it, a different level.
It gives it a higher level of
heightened
excitement,
experience for
kind
sure.
of,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. So you're always peeking around corners, and you can kind of see the guys running through this district that it is built much differently than Cyrodiil was.
Oh, yeah,
Instead of a
it's
huge open
very
space,
close.
and
Right.
anytime someone or a whole group of
run
people
around
can
the
just
corner.
jump out of a
Right.
building and sort of gank your stuff, right?
Yep.
Do you get alliance points when fighting players here,
Yep.
or just helpers?
You still get alliance
Yep.
points in
Yep,
XP,
same amount.
same stuff.
Right on.
And with the specifically with the multiplier, you can see that that hexagon in the bottom, and it's about halfway full. So that little blue bar around sort of corresponds to your progress to filling in. So once he gets all the way around, he'll go into the 2x multiplier. So then the normal mob drop, instead of getting 4, you're getting 8, right? So
Right.
and that counts for everything. So when you're killing those bosses and you got a big multiplier, you
You see that thing go all the way around.
Yeah, you're
too.
racking it in.
Is there a way to tell how many Tel Var Stones another player has, especially an enemy player?
No, we wanted to have it sort of feel like a jackpot, or very much. We didn't want to have it where you're running around hunting just the guys that have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
glowy on them. or
You don't
something.
just like ignore like PvP.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
about like letting people go. It's
No,
like
it's
you're
not.
supposed to be trying to kill people.
It looks like they found one of the bosses there.
Oh, so we're in the center now?
Yeah, they're getting ready to move into sort of the center portion of the Memorial District, but they need to clear out a couple things before going in there. But sorry, we cut you off because we saw
Yeah.
the sweeper.
That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
that
That's
you
the-
do,
the sweeper.
just
Yeah, that's
interrupting
exciting.
everybody.
Yeah.
So with the multipliers we have. Oh, here comes the boss. Should we talk about the
No,
boss?
go ahead, keep talking about it. They're working on trying to not die to a boss. Sorry.
Yeah,
we
I
just talked
mean-
about death, and we shouldn't let Larrabee die too quick. He has a knack for backing up into things and making the rest of the guys in the team go, Larrabee!
Killing a Larrabee.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fire you gotta watch out for when you're fighting this guy.
Yeah, so I mean, speaking about this boss real quick, this kind of highlights how we built these guys in the city to kind of handle a lot of area with their area effect abilities. So it's not just a small 1 or 2 people can take this guy out. It's going to take more than just 2 or 3 guys to take out a sweeper like this. So their abilities kind of cover a lot of space. They switch their targets a lot, and they definitely will hit you like a Mack truck if you get near them.
Yeah, I noticed you guys have sort of placed this sweeper in the more open area, not sort of in the
Right.
densely crowded buildings, so there's
Right.
a little bit more space to fight him.
That's nice of you.
Well, we want them to be hard, but not clipping through buildings and breaking through like King Kong, which would be
I kind of
Crazy.
or like the Kool-Aid guy,
the
right?
Kool-Aid guy. Oh yeah, that's gonna do
By
something.
the way, that is the updated Flash
Uh-oh.
Astronaut.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, this is the updated Flesh Atronach
The
model.
one we're talking about earlier.
And you'll notice this group doesn't actually have a tank. It's just like a healer and it looks like a bunch of DPS guys.
Yeah,
so
there's a guy
this
there.
boss is just running loose, hitting people all over. Yep, now he's going over there, dropping the hammer. They're doing a really good job though. You noticed he was like healing himself and roll dodging, sort of get out of the way when he had aggro. Oh, you see that guy in the back there as a sorcerer. He both escaped away when they got aggro.
And here you see they're getting some more monsters on them as they go through. So it's not like they're fighting this in a clear open space with a room dedicated toward this boss. There's several that will pop up throughout all 6 of the districts.
And in fact,
this is
we're
just
all
one.
hoping for Laramie to die because we want to show something else off.
Hey, well, remember the last time you were here, you talked about the extra cost for roll dodge and bolt escape that's going into this
Yes.
patch. Is
Yes.
that in effect here?
Oh no!
So
there-
what do we see here?
Yeah,
We lost
so they-
Tel Var Stones.
You'll see the death recap. It'll tell you how many Tel Var Stones that you lost when you get killed. So
you lose-
players, like we were saying, is 100%, but right now the monsters are only 10%. So we wanted there to still be some penalty for dying to monsters, but we didn't want it to be super punishing. Like if you just lost all your stones, you're like, oh my god,
That's too much of a
'cause-
penalty.
and like you don't have an opportunity to get them back, whereas
Right.
you do with other players. But the boss just killed you, and now those stones are kind of gone.
But you'll see when they kill them, they'll get a bunch of stones back.
Yeah, in return, if you kill them.
Yeah,
It'll be well worth beyond the 10% that he just lost when they finally kill this guy. For
Yeah.
sure.
Do you
You
still
don't
lose
have
stones?
to show it
if-
again how you died.
Do you still lose stones if you die to either a monster or a player outside of Imperial City?
No. You only lose stones. Period. It sounds terrible
There
saying
you
you
go.
lose stones, but yeah, and you can see
Hurts
there
when you
actually.
lose your stones.
Yeah.
It's multiplier one.
They went up to
Ripped out.
a ×2 multiplier, so we got a lot of stones from killing the boss there, and everybody in the group splits the stones out.
Yeah, and it gets divided evenly. So there's 4 people, and the mob drops 4, so everyone gets 1. In the case that it's uneven, like if there's only 3 people in the group, then 1 person would get an extra, and it's just determined randomly. So it's the most fair system, basically, for dividing the number of stones.
Now,
Is
looks
it
like-
everybody who participated in the fight?
Yeah.
Like anybody who kind of touches them?
Well, you have
Yeah,
to
pretty
cross
much.
a certain threshold
Sure.
of getting
you have to
credit.
do. Yeah,
Not
you,
just
of course.
you can't just
You
like
can't just go
little tiny
boink
bit.
and then run. Yeah. So it looks like they're going to try to sneak back to the sewers to get back to their base to bank the stones.
So
which
this
is
multiplier, if I
Whoops.
see that right, the first threshold is 100 Tel Var Stones and then goes up to 2.
Yeah. So
And
yeah.
What happens then?
So we have a pretty even delineation of numbers. The first is 100, and then it's 1,000, and then it's 10,000. and it
10,000
goes-
Tel Var Stones.
Yeah, you need a lot of
You need
Tel
a
Var
lot.
stones.
Now you can get those if you're a boss hunter,
Huh?
which
Yeah,
is great.
or if you find a
Somebody
couple
who was
players,
hunting and you kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely you're gonna want to sort of use some strategic elements for who you're hunting, because if you see people they've been around for a while and they haven't
Yeah.
gone back to bank their stones, those are the guys I want to kill. Whereas
that kind of
if
behooves
someone
the
just
whole-
resurrected, from a graveyard, and you see him
He's
jump
meh.
down there, you're like, oh, okay, he just got killed, so he's not gonna have very
And that
much.
kind of like gets back to the whole stealthing around looking for people to kill. Like you don't have to jump. You don't want to jump somebody right away. You want to let them maybe earn some stones before you jump and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So and if I'm brave enough and keep 10,000 Tel Var Stones in my inventory,
Uh-huh.
I have a multiplier of 4. That means instead of getting 100 or 400 for a boss, I get 400 or
Times 4.
Yeah.
times 4.
Uh-huh.
So if you had the 4x multiplier and you could solo a boss, you would get 1,600.
That's if you
doubt
could solo.
that.
Yeah. But you saw, there was 4 of them there, and it still took a long time. So it's.
But
Yeah.
that does mean, like, for killing just regular guys like this, if you're by yourself, you would then get 16 stones per kill as opposed to just 4, which
Yeah. So.
it's a hefty chunk of change. to
Yeah,
get.
the whole sort of point of the multiplier of the 2x, 3x, and 4x is to encourage people to hold on to their stones.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's more exciting if you have more to lose, but you're also gaining really fast, right? So,
Yep.
so there's a balance there, and different people have sort of different tolerances for risk of how
For how much adrenaline they can take.
yeah. Some people are like a little bit more conservative, and they're just going to get a couple stones and bank them, and that's
Yep.
that's fine. So
That's
we want to make
perfectly
a system that would sort of accommodate all those different types of play styles.
Right.
So we left the districts of the Imperial
Right.
City and now in the sewers.
Now they're in one of the sewer sections that is basically tied to their alliance. There's several of these sections, and one of them, well, there's one which is dedicated to your alliance, where there's a safe base for you to go into, where you can do a lot of services. You can bank, you can craft. You'll see in there's some merchants that you can actually spend the Tel Var Stones on. But that area is perfectly safe, that you'll actually see as soon as they get there. But it's not a cakewalk to get there. They're running through and they're fighting NPCs as they go through.
Yeah.
You can stealth walk through it. You just have to be very careful to do so. So in the case of, I have my 10,000 stones, but everybody just disconnected. So they left me there standing alone. I will have to stealth back.
Get new
But
friends.
there's some guys you can handle, but for the most part, it's going to be a slog to get back. Like you can tell in this fight right here.
Yeah, and if you have a lot of Tel Var Stones,
You're gonna get more.
It gets pretty intense if you're trying to, go back by yourself, because if any player comes and gets you, and also when you're stealthing past the monsters, if you make a mistake, they can kill you and take some of your stones
Now,
too.
that does bring up a good point, that this is still a PvP space that they're in. The sewers, all the sewers is PvP, all of the districts are PvP. There have been some questions about White Gold Tower and the prison. They are not PvP.
So if I'm doing my 4-player instance, someone can't just jump in there.
They
and
can't
clock
come
me
in.
the
No,
head.
they can't do that.
Okay, all right, great.
Sorry.
And I don't have to bank my Tel Var Stones before I go into the White Gold Tower because I'm not going to lose
They
them
don't
there.
incur loss in there.
Oh yeah, and another important thing to point out is that you only are getting the Tel Var Stones in PvP areas, so you won't get Tel Var Stones in the White Gold Tower, but you also won't get ganked by other players.
Right.
Because we wanted to make sure that there was always a risk-reward system, and if you could get them without having the risk, it would sort of violate that principle.
Here you kind of see there's more banners appearing as they get closer to their base. Less Daedra have snuck in here, so you kind of have a better, clear indication of, okay, well, I'm getting closer and closer to my base, the more nice it looks is kind of a good way to word it, as opposed to corrupted.
Reach the base. The way it looks.
Yep, now they meet it. So
And
right there.
So before we enter the base,
Uh-huh.
there are bosses in here too, in the sewers.
In the sewers, yes.
Yeah.
There are sweepers or mobile bosses. Roaming bosses,
yep.
They also hit like a Mack truck, just like the other guy, but they're smaller. They're basically elite Zivkin. They have a special suite of abilities that they share between them. There's either 6 shielding or healing style abilities and 6 damage style abilities that they kind of mix and match. So you're running across those while you're going through the sewers, as well as some set sub bosses where they're more traditional. This is my room where I exist.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the sewers, it's a lot more tight and constricted areas.
Right.
So how do their effects look in this really small area? Because if that big Colossus was putting
Right.
that fire down, you wouldn't really...
Yeah, it wouldn't work too well in there, and that's why a lot of the monsters in here were more custom made for the sewers. Have smaller area effects as opposed to huge, large area denials. So we're actually at the bank now.
Okay, cool.
So you can bank your stones.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you can put your stones in the bank. And we went through a little bit of an iteration process here. Originally, we had it so that you would deposit stones and the banker would keep part of it as a fee. So you would put in...
Aww.
He's got to make a living too. He's got children, and they eat Tel Var Stones.
A little demonic.
So he
children.
would take 50 out of whatever you deposited.
Wow.
She, in
You
this
deposit
case.
100, you end up putting in 50, and he takes the other 50.
Right.
But and we got a bunch of feedback where it was like, well, that really sucks.
like Gina's, aww.
Yeah, and like if you put in 51 stones, he would take 50 of them. So then you only put in 1 stone, right? It's just
That's-
like a total bummer.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to, accommodate the play style of people who weren't really wanting to take
The
big
full
risks,
risk, right.
But the reason we still wanted, so basically what we changed it to is a
$50 minimum.
Yeah,
No way.
$50.
Oh, God.
Can
That
we
is
just
not
say,
a microtransaction.
Can we say right now,
No.
we are not adding Tel Var Stones to the Crown Store?
No.
Never.
Just
No,
in case
no,
somebody
no.
heard the word dollars and was like,
Oh my God.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
so
happening.
you need 50 stones to be able to make a deposit. And we wanted to do that because we didn't want people to run out and get 4 stones and then
Yeah.
deposit immediately, because they're just not really a fun play experience, because you're just spending the whole time running back and forth and not actually experience the system. So there's still like a minimum amount of risk you have when you're like, oh, I'm getting close to 50 if you want to be like a little bit more
Plus,
conservative.
you kind of have a semi-indication if you see somebody out in the wild, you may get at least 50 stones for killing them, unless you saw them recently respawn. You may, you could ballpark it that you may get at least 50.
At least he did not deposit.
And then
Maybe
it's
he didn't earn 50 yet, but
Now there will be cases where you may get 2 because they just
'cause
killed
they just-
somebody.
yeah.
yeah.
And also that sort of brings you to your first decision point, right? Of, okay, I have 50. Do I want to get 50 more to get the 2x multiplier, or am I worried and I just want to bank them now?
It looks like he's at one of the merchants where he wants to buy some things.
Yeah, and they're different merchants. This is the general merchant.
Right. And
Yeah,
this is a
and-
good case where the general merchant sells a lot of the crafting materials that Eric will actually be talking about at a certain location in Texas soon.
You can say it. It's quick.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Yeah.
going to QuakeCon. We're talking more about
Right.
all the items and cool stuff in the sewers, but
next
This
week.
one specifically,
yeah, there is a really cool item here that you can buy: the Sigil of Imperial Retreat.
yes.
Shorthand is the Portal Stone.
That's true.
Is what we like to talk about
Yeah.
internally, just because it's a little bit more concise. But this is a great item because it allows you, at any time, you can activate it and it'll teleport you from where you were standing in the Imperial City back to this base.
It'll also work in the sewers too.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're in the sewers. So if it's a really long distance and you don't feel like running back and there's a lot of base pop, you can use it.
Oh, your friends just locked out.
Yeah, your
Wheeler's friends.
Sorry.
Wheeler left me.
They like to leave me
all by
solo, that's what
myself, and I need to get back to base. Additionally, if you just scored a huge amount of Tel Var Stones, like you just killed someone, you got 10,000, and you're like, hands are shaking, you're like, oh my God,
gotta get out
I have
of
so
here, I
much
gotta
money. Yeah, you can activate this and it'll pop you right back to the base.
And it's not cheap either. It does
Yeah.
cost 500 Tel Var
Yeah,
stones.
so it's a significant cost. There are ways you can get them. There's a couple of portal events that you have a chance of getting them. And then lastly, there is a cast time on this because we wanted to keep the risk element in
Yeah.
there. And if you could
Yeah.
just,
If you
know,
just pour it out, then that's kind of cheap.
yeah, then you're like, oh, look, some guys are coming and I have a lot of stones.
No, that's
so,
not fair.
so you would just be holding a lot of stones all the time.
Right.
So
Could you?
I stealth and hide in the corner and hope that no one sees
And
me.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're going to want to do if you have one is pretty much look around, make sure you're safe, then use it because it will expose you.
Could you teleport from anywhere in Imperial City back to some other area?
You mean outside of it?
Yeah.
The way you get out of Imperial City is you have to go through the door, which pretty much got you in there.
Okay. So
what
you
about,
can't
like-
just port out.
Yeah, like what
whenever
about
you
way
want?
shrines? or
Way
something
shrine,
like that?
just like Cyrodiil, way shrine travel is restricted in the PvP spaces.
Really good design. Nice work there.
I don't want people to get out of jail free. It seems like the whole point of the
Oh
stones.
no! I totally agree. Totally agree.
And we mentioned that in today's article too. There are two ways actually, either through the home base of your sewer or through one of the dungeons.
Right. Yeah, and that goes back to kind of one of the other discussions that was posted about on the forums. If you go into the sewers and leave and you click the door to leave it, you won't just end up right back on the other side and getting ganked by guys waiting for you out there. You go to a safe location too.
The portal stone that you were just showing, is that consumed upon use?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
So you gotta-
one only too.
Yeah,
You can
so
only
you
have
have to
one
keep
on you
buying
at a
them.
time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a couple more details. A new sort of thing we iterated on recently is that it only counts as a PvP death if a player gets the killing blow on you.
Okay.
So if you're sort of fighting against a monster that way, it's not like, oh, someone put a dot on me and then I got the full PvP death and they took all my stones. Like, they need to be, more sort of active in the battle and actually finishing you off, which, since there are a bunch of also player abilities that sort of support that playstyle. Like, there's a bunch of executes, like Mage's Fury or Killer's Blade if you're a Knife Blade, stuff like that. So
Want to take a minute again to thank our QA gang
Yeah.
running us through not only
yeah,
Thanks, guys.
did a good job.
Good job. We
There's
didn't
only
have
one
too many
Larrabee
Larrabee death.
Yeah.
So they're getting
Well,
pretty
we
good.
asked
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
They're getting pretty good there.
So we had already talked about how you can bank your stones, but you cannot mail stones.
Nope.
You cannot
Right.
trade stones.
Right.
You can only bank them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're yours.
They're yours. Like
The
not
stuff
gold.
I
except
buy
for
with them.
not
Can I buy that? Can I trade that? So if I
Yeah.
buy
think you can,
crafting
right?
material, can I give that
Yeah,
to my
yeah.
guild trusted crafter, whatever.
Yeah, and part of the philosophy with that is eventually you'll have your whole set completed, right? And you'll still be getting Tel Var Stones. And if you're a real hero, you might have like a big bank. You're like, well, what am I going to do with this? So that allows you to sort of convert it to money because you can buy those crafting materials and then sell them to other players.
Very nice.
And then there's a few more interesting things about Tel Var Stones.
Please tell us more.
Yeah.
They're not going to say
Tell
no.
us. If it's
They won't say
Strange
no.
segues.
We'll be right back after these messages.
And then pan wipe.
Yeah, so there's also a quest line in Imperial City.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep
Yeah,
going.
There's content.
There's content to do.
There's a story.
There's stuff to do.
Yeah.
Really?
More than killing players. Wow.
So there's a one-time sort of story that you're going through, and you're doing quests, and you get boxes of Tel Var Stones for those. And then once you completed that, there's also daily quests. There's
Yes,
like 6
there'll be
or
dailies
so,
in there
right?
too, right.
Yeah. And so when you do those daily quests, you also get boxes of Tel Var Stones, and those have a really interesting interplay with the whole multiplier system and the death system, because when you get this box of stones, you can open it
still in the
whenever you
box.
want. It's just in that box. So if you're kind of like a risk-averse person, you can just hold on to that box, and then once you go to the banker, you can open all your boxes and then just give it to them,
Well,
right?
it's like Christmas or birthday.
Pretty much.
Open all
Yeah,
the
open your presents, get a whole bunch of stones.
Right.
However, you could also open them and get a really high multiplier, right?
But,
But then you might get killed, right?
What's the maximum multiplier? I don't remember if we said that.
That's 4x.
It's 4x.
4x, and it's 10,000 stones.
I mean,
so-
I know. I was just asking for.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I can just go over the whole thing. It was then 10,000 or 1,000 stones was 3x, and 100 is 2x multiplier.
And the good thing about those boxes, like we know that there's been some questions about, well, what am I going to do in here? I'm a PvE person. I don't want to
Yeah.
get killed all the time and have my stones lost. It's a good way to get a bunch of stones that are protected, so to speak,
Right.
until you crack them open and get them back home.
Yeah, so that way if you play for 2 hours
Right.
and you get killed at the end, instead of being like, oh, I have nothing,
You at least have the
still
boxes
have
that
all
you
your
got from the
boxes that you
quest.
had gotten.
Yeah.
You bring them into the safe zone, open them,
then you open them and then deposit them and yeah.
everything's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
Do you want to give maybe an example of maybe how much something might cost? Like how many Tel Var Stones some random item might cost, just to kind of give. Okay, you don't have to. I'm just
I
asking.
mean, I think I might talk about that at QuakeCon.
Okay, QuakeCon next week.
QuakeCon.
Teaser.
Right.
It's coming.
Because there's more than just crafting material.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can buy.
That's just
Yeah.
There's also the VR 15 and 16
No,
items.
he's giving it away.
We'll talk more on the details of like some of the cool new sets we've added and stuff like that.
Can those boxes be looted off you?
No.
No.
They're yours.
They're safe.
Yeah, they're 100% safe.
There you go. There you go. Gall's Badsy.
Gall's Betsy.
Yeah. So now you know.
Knowing's half the battle.
Yep. G.I. Joe.
I know one thing we forgot to mention in the sewers is there's scams running around who have Tel Var Stones too.
Yep.
Oh, the scams.
Yep.
Yes.
Scams.
Yep. There's 2 types of scams.
Yep.
We broke them up into 2 different types because we wanted to give 2 different types of rewards as opposed to just being only a Tel Var scamp. So there'll be some that run around, they have a lot of Tel Var stones, like a jackpot, and some of them also have a lot of crafting material. The thing about those little guys is they will run through a lot of the monsters in base pop, so you have to chase them down and try to kill them.
And
so it's
aggro
sort of
everything.
yeah, they'll aggro everything too. Well, they don't aggro, you
No,
aggro
I
by trying
aggro
to
everything
chase
while
it.
I fight them.
Yep, so that's
But you
one.
gotta.
Fun.
So you want to like kind of deal with the monsters that are building up, but also if you don't kill him fast enough, he gets in a portal and jumps
And they
away.
just go away, right?
Yeah.
And there's also, speaking of portals, there's basically the sewers are too compact to have a real dark anchor in there. So you'll see a couple portals that are scattered about. They kind of function like a dark anchor, but
that's
you
a
can get Tel Var
big
stones out of
dark
those.
anche above the city anyway. So.
Well, that one is
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. There's a
right,
lot,
for sure.
yeah, going on there.
Yep.
But those it like spawns waves, kind of
Yep,
like a dark anchor.
waves like a dark
does.
anchor, yep.
And that's if you complete that, you have a chance
You
of
get a
getting a
treasure
portal
chest.
stone in there as well, which is
Okay.
cool. So there's a lot of when you're running around, there's a lot of sort of rare, interesting events that can happen.
Right. It's
down
not
there,
just, you know, killing one
It's just like,
monster
oh,
after
base
another,
pop,
right.
base pop, you know,
Yeah.
guys all the time. So it's like I'm finding players sometimes and
Find treasure
scamps, and then like
chests.
maybe there's a scamp and a player, and you're like, well, maybe I can try to like CC him or like push
Yeah.
him away while I'm trying to figure out the
Yep.
scamp. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting dynamic things going on there.
It is a great zone. I went through it alone and got already this claustrophobic feeling. I don't want to know where my heart rate is when players might be behind the next.
You get one of those little
corner.
things that keep your heart rate
It's
there.
gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah, we should.
I'm
Yeah, we
looking
should ship
forward
those
to it.
with the expansion, just to make sure people's. If you get over a certain heart rate, you got to stop playing for a little bit.
We could then cross-reference to
Cool
see
off.
if they get a high heart rate with a high amount of Tel Var Stones.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
More data.
our business intelligence department will love that.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, we're definitely for PTS, which is coming up. We're definitely going to be tracking like all the stone gain rates, you know, and making sort of adjustments to item costs or the multipliers and stuff like that. And like we said, we were looking to iterate on the death mechanic of losing 100% stones because that's pretty punishing. We would definitely like to hear people's feedback. I mean, if you love it, we'll just leave it at that, or we may end up tweaking it a little bit. But
Yeah, a
So
lot
we
of
do
the, a lot
read
of the numbers.
feedback.
We do.
yeah, we totally do.
And as we said before, we're going to have events on PTS where we see how many Tel Var Stones you can get and you can win something.
Ooh,
Something.
TBD.
nice.
Maybe this guy who's in his ninja pose today.
He's all like, come at me.
He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got Tel Var Stones. Don't.
Oh, see you later.
Oh, it's time to go home.
I guess that's the end of the show.
Oh, he can't get up. He's down for the count.
All right, hold on. We'll do this just to make up for it. Is that better?
Oh yeah.
Somebody had to do it.
I think that completes the show. We had the
I
net
think that's
chat.
it.
You got to end on a
Everything.
high note.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that.
Well, thank you for being here. That was
Thanks,
an
guys. That
No
was
problem.
interesting
Yeah.
insight.
And thanks again to our QA guys.
Yeah, they did a really great job.
Well, we'll be back as always in 2 weeks.
See you next time.
Yeah, on Friday, July 31st at 4 p.m. as usual.
Yep. And don't forget, we will be at QuakeCon next week. We'll be
Yes.
having a panel, a meet and greet, some contests. We'll be just all over the internet. So it'll be really exciting. That will be at 4:30 Central Time, so 5:30 Eastern Time. And that will be streamed on Twitch, so you can catch it there.
Yep. As usual, let us know what you thought. Give us feedback. Give us your impressions. We're looking forward to hear from you.
Indeed.
As
Well,
always. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
Bye guys.
Thank
That's my face.